Dominique, you have an 8% Fed funds rate. Okay, first of all, that's very aggressive, and I'm wondering how you get there and what Jay Powell has to do kind of next week to start moving the market in a different direction.
Okay, so I get there for three reasons. Number one, inflation is high and entrenched. You already have the famously dreaded wage price spiral. Just look at plot nominal wage growth against inflation. You can see the feedback loop is there. And once you have that, very difficult to bring down inflation. You need to raise unemployment, i.e. bring about a recession. Reason number two, I think the Fed inflation model is flawed. The model predicts that as long as inflation expectations are stable, supply-driven inflation shocks are self-correcting. And in my view, it's been falsified by the data. I mean, the Fed keeps reminding us that inflation expectations are stable. And look at inflation, it's soaring. We're going to double-digit inflation. It's only a matter of time. Third reason, historically, in order to bring down inflation, the Fed has had to bring the Fed funds rate close to the Taylor rule, which is basically a weighted average of the difference of inflation and unemployment from their long-term levels. We are super far from the Taylor rule, which, depending on how you compute it, is about 7 to 8%. So that's my two
Dominique,
cents.
if we're going to get to 7-8%, Jay Powell's going to be pretty aggressive next Friday. Do you think he will be?
Actually, I think we're more likely to get to 8% if he's not aggressive. Because right now, the Fed is falling behind the curve. And the more you fall behind the curve, the more you will have to hike. And the nastier, the more painful the recession. This is a story of the oil shocks that is being played all over again. The Fed is reluctant to take the pain up front. And so it makes for a deeper and nastier recession.
So what do you think that we're going to hear from Powell then next week, Dominique?
So I think he's going to do three things. First, he's going to stick to the Fed fund trajectory that we had in the June SCP, so rate hikes next year. Second, he's going to tell us that he's absolutely committed to reducing inflation, that he has the greatest admiration for Paul Volcker. And third, he's going to tread ever so gingerly on the issue of the hard landing. I mean, again, if you look at the experience of the Fed, the only instances of soft landing following an acceleration of inflation was when the Fed was very proactive. That window of opportunity is gone. So this makes this puts the Fed in a very tricky position. Are they going, like the Bank of England tells the world the bad news, a recession is coming, or are they just going to, dodge, equivocate until they can no longer? And I think they will do the latter.
Okay, at least they have that option. Can you walk me through your perception of what is happening here in Europe right now? How you perceive the data that we're getting? I think we had you've got a PPI number out of Germany today that is 30% plus. Energy prices are going absolutely through the roof. They keep doubling at every turn, it seems. Europe has a major economic problem on its hands. Dominique, how are you seeing it from your vantage point in LA?
So my vantage point in sunny LA, unfortunately, I expect that my family in Europe is going to have a really tough winter. What is going on in Europe is very simple. It is the epicenter of the oil shock, commodities price shock we have. And the strategy of policymakers in Europe has been to shelter their economies from the increase in commodities prices. So even though inflation is roughly the same in Europe and in the US, the PPI, so the producer price index, is about 3 times higher in Europe than in the US. So Europe has yet to feel the pain from the commodities price shock. And in my view, perceptions of inflation and central bank policies are even more behind the curve than in the US.